We can never start too early to teach proper leash walking. Whether you have an 8-week-old pup or an older dog, it's a lesson that needs to be taught. If you have a young pup, they probably don't have much history of getting somewhere by pulling, but it is the natural inclination of animals if they feel pressure to keep pushing into it, not release, away from it, which is what we're going to be teaching them. So it's the opposite of what is natural to them. So the proper equipment, I went over this earlier in the overview section, is to have a 6-foot leash and either a flat collar. If your dog doesn't pull a lot, you can certainly just stick with that, or a front clip harness. And you want to understand too that you need to commit right now, if we're going to go forward and be successful, that you're never going to go forward on a pull. And you want to walk with your dog and only go forward when the leash is loose. And that's what we're going to be teaching them over these next few slides. And the other thing you can do is shape them, like we're doing with many of the other behaviors that we're teaching, is to shape them to stay in the position that you want and how to be on the leash. So that would be next to your leg in a heel position and with a loose leash. Now, that's not going to stay that way. Once they understand the lesson of pressure and release, you really can let them out on a very long line. They're not going to pull you because it doesn't work anymore.
So if you get a couple steps without the jumping, there, yep. Yeah, and like I think we had talked about last time, it's not critical where he is exactly because we have to deal with the jumping more than where his position is. That'll come later.
Come on. Hurry, I got a treat. Come on.
There, catch him right there. Before he jumps. Yeah, that was good. He had at least 10 steps. Right there. Perfect. That's beneficial. You might as well do that, right? So that's nice right there. Yeah. There, you lost him.
Murphy.
So again, this was great. You could have said yes a million times, say around there. You see he looks that way, call him right away because he's forgotten about you. Right?
Murphy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Because what are you practicing too? Recall.
Yeah.
So you're doing two things. You're teaching leash walking and practicing recall.
Murphy. Yes.
So you can use both. I mean, because he does feel the pressure, and that's what we're doing now is teaching him what that means.
Murphy. Yes.
Treat.
Good. Yes. Yes, so he's holding it up a little bit. Now then go around this cone, and I'm a lot closer to the cone, and see how he is when he comes next to me, if he's shaking or...
Come on, buddy.
I have him stop there.
Because this may get stressful for your dog, a tip to be successful is to up your reinforcement, your positive reinforcement. So that will help alleviate the frustration. So when they feel the pressure and they do release to it, and you on top of that mark and reinforce with food or their treat, whatever they love, you are going to doubly reinforce the behavior. They're going to learn much more quickly, and it's going to become something that they want to do. And you want to make sure you start in a boring space and not distracting, which could be your living room, where you're going to put the leash on and not really go outside, because once you try to get out the door, you're already on a tight leash. So you want to work where you can be successful and where they can get a lot of positive reinforcement for doing the correct thing. And then gradually you're going to add longer and longer sessions and more distractions. And you just keep going through the same process in the living room. Say you get a lot of loose leash, you go towards the door, you have to in and out of the door, you have to use the same process until they understand to get out the door it has to be loose, into the front yard, etc. because you know, and I hear this a lot, that your dog's probably fine until you put the leash on and you're going out the door, and then they'll pull like heck for the first 20 minutes, and then they're fine on the way back. And that's because they really want to get outside, and the way to do it in their world now is to pull you. And then when they want to come back, it's like, well, yeah, it's not that they've gotten, and maybe they have gotten a little bit of exercise, get that energy out, but it's really that, then they really want to get out on the walk, and they probably don't really want to go back home. So um, if it doesn't improve, you need to change something so they understand whenever the leash is on, they should keep it loose. It should be their job. And if you're consistent and you get a solid training routine, so it's the same pattern every day and your dog understands it and they're motivated to do it, you'll be highly successful. As we saw, the dogs in the videos are all next to the person's leg, and that's where you want to start. It doesn't mean we're going to stay that way, but by teaching them to stay next to you, their focus is more on you, and you can shape their behaviors much more easily when they're focused on you, as opposed to being out in front where they kind of forget what's at the other side of the leash. Another tip, and what actually something to avoid, which is common, is to leash swap. And by that I mean your dog's walking on the left, and they should stay there. Whatever side you establish on your walk, they should stay there so they don't trip you up. But what happens often is they'll duck behind you, and then what typically people will do is just, oh, I'll just take the leash in the other hand, and now the dog's on the right side. But as I mentioned, you're really going to teach your dog to trip you up and be, walking, weaving back and forth, as opposed to staying straight. So when they're on a leash, there should be a certain level of skill that they achieve and understand that that's what they should do. Now, that doesn't mean you can't teach them left side leash walking and right side. Totally a good idea, especially if you want to get into agility. You want to work your dog both sides, but it's more that they're moving from one side to the other, and it's not your request. And if you do have a situation where they do get out in front and start pulling, there's a couple of tips here, and you'll see them, or you probably saw them in the videos. So that would be, if they do get out in front and pull you, you're going to do a 180 pretty much and just turn and go back the other way. And that helps because, they're putting the pressure on, but the pressure means to come towards you, which is what we want to teach. So by doing the 180 and starting to walk in that direction, that's what you're telling them, come this way. When they come that way with you, you're going to get a lot of steps of loose leash, a lot of opportunity to mark and reinforce them coming towards you. And then you catch them right next to your leg and give them the treat there, because feeding for position, as it's called, also helps your learner understand more quickly what it is that you want to teach them. And another tip is, if you didn't want to like turn 180 degrees, sometimes you can get dizzy if your dog's really pulling a lot and you have to do that. You can just take a couple of steps back, and most likely, again, so by back, I mean the opposite of where they're pulling. And when they turn and look at you, you can mark and reinforce that. If they come towards you, you mark and reinforce that. You want to also then, because you're facing each other basically when you're doing it that way, you want to bring the treat down next to your leg where you want them. Even if they're pointing in the wrong direction, doesn't matter. You're going to feed for position again, and then continue your walk in the direction that you want to go in. So have fun with this. I know that you're going to be successful, and we'll see you in the next module.